You hit play, and here we are at the Journey Jukebox, a big blend radio travel podcast featuring Lisa Evans, a travel writer, photographer, travel advisor, and the author of 100 Things to Do in Coastal Mississippi Before You Die. Welcome, everyone. It is the second official episode of the Journey Jukebox show with travel writer, photographer, and travel advisor Lisa Evans. And we're going to be going to the Bahamas today because she just came back from there, and I've been dying to talk with her because she drank rum. She went on, she experienced the Queen's Staircase, which is pretty massive. She hung out with stingrays. She had a really good time on this cruise going from Florida over. And she's even going to talk to us about a cruise that she is taking, a group cruise to the Caribbean coming up at the end of the year in December when it's cold. So y'all might want to be hopping on board with her. So how are you doing, Lisa?
I'm doing good. Not bad at all. The sun's shining. It's a nice day, so we're doing good.
Oh, and everybody, you know, Lisa's out in coastal Mississippi. And the last time we recorded, when she was talking about spring in coastal Mississippi, it was snowing.
It was the most snow they've had here in coastal Mississippi since the 60s. It was crazy.
Wow, that's amazing. And meantime, you're used to that kind of stuff, but don't
Yeah.
you kind of, once you get out of that kind of weather, you forget how bad it is?
Oh, I don't forget. I disliked it up there, and it was hysterical. Everybody down here, because it's such a novelty if you live down here or have lived down here all your life. Everybody's, oh, it's so pretty. It's so this, it's so that. I'm like, yeah, no, it's really not. I dealt with it for many, many, many years, and I was like, no, it's not cool.
Oh,
It might be pretty for about 5 minutes, and then it's like, ugh. But it literally, of course, shut everything down because, you know, they're not used to it here. So the kids were having a ball. There was no school for like 3 days. I mean, literally, there was nobody driving anywhere. Businesses were shut down because you can't get there because they have no way to take care of snow and ice and that kind of thing. So,
wow. Wow. Well, let's go and warm up. Let's go to the
yes,
Bahamas.
please.
So tell us, okay. And everyone, Lisa's got a very cool Spotify music playlist that we've started. So every episode we add a few songs, and so we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But you know, that's part of being the jukebox, man. We both love music and history and travel and nature. So I think this should be the Lisa and Lisa Cult Jam show. But
There we go.
yeah, we've got our own Lisa cult going on. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, tell us a little bit about the cruise that you know, what you went on, because it went out of, start with
Yeah.
what is the cruise ship you went on and from where to where?
Well, I went on the MSC Divina. So MSC is, obviously if anybody, I'm sure you see MSC on like container ships or whatever. The business has been around for a long, long time. They started in the shipping aspect, and then they moved to cruise lines. So now they're, basically it's a contemporary cruise line, and they have a luxury tier. There's a place on the ship that I want to say maybe next time I go on one, it's the yacht club. So that's like their part of exclusivity. You have your own area of the ship and your own pool and your own whatever. So the yacht club's really cool, but I enjoyed it. I was, you know, amongst all the rest, but, the name of the ship was Divina, and it's inspired by Sophia Loren, who inspired it. Obviously the group, the MSC has European, it's mostly a European flair. So it was a slightly older ship. And so there was a couple other travel advisors on the ship, as well. And we, you know, got chit chatting or whatever. And they're like, oh, we like the newer ships or whatever. I'll tell you what, this ship, it was so charming. It glamour. It was glamorous. It wasn't like huge with the 6, 7, 8,000 passenger one. I believe there was like the capacity of the Divina is 4,300, and it has like 1,751 cabins. So it's a smaller ship by comparison when you hear about the other big, large cruise ships, the Icons and all this, that, and the other thing, which are great. Don't get me wrong, but it's a huge ship. The Divina, for my purposes, I really liked it. It, like I said, it's slightly older, but everything about it was glamorous and elegant. The staircases were just absolutely
Ooh.
beautiful. So in the atrium of the ship, which of course you know, like the levels, I think it was 4, 5, and 6 is basically, where all the public areas were, most of them. And so those were the decks and the staircase, and you could go up through it. You could walk, you could take the elevator, but the staircases are like they have like crystal in them, and they're just so beautiful.
Mm.
It just really is a beautiful, beautiful ship. You know, and you know, half the joy of going on a cruise is enjoying the ship as well as the excursions and the places you visit, which I did both. So, but like I said, the atrium, so it's 3 decks. So you can sit on like the middle one, look up, and there's people all over and down, and they have like the entertainment on this ship was phenomenal. Pretty much you went to, there was entertainment, live entertainments. I mean, I remember sitting and having a latte, which became one of my favorites, you know, just sitting there with a latte, watching the entertainment, big comfy chairs, you know, it was just, the experience was very, very cool. Yes, there was a lot of people, but not like you were, you know, jarring up against everybody. It just was a really, really nice experience. Again, I did not mind the fact that it was a few years older than the brand spanking new ones. Although not to say I wouldn't want to go on a brand new one. I will eventually, but this one was just very pretty. Everything about it was just sparkly and pretty. I mean, if you think of the elegance of Sophia Loren, it makes sense. She was just this
Yeah.
gorgeous woman, and you know, and it basically everything about the ship is glamour and elegance. It's just so pretty.
That's cool, man. And I love the fact that you can just relax and enjoy entertainment because you don't have to go out. You know what I mean? That's kind of that benefit of this kind of thing. If you're burned out from work, you know, and driving around
Yeah,
the city or whatever, you know, just being able to me, I love to be able to walk places and I love to drive
yeah,
and road trips and everything. So don't get me wrong. And I drive the country nonstop. It's kind of my full-time gig,
yeah,
you know. But when you get to a place where you can just walk, you know,
yeah.
like in a hotel, you just go downstairs and there's entertainment in the lounge and you want to just relax and not have the stress of even getting an Uber. You know, just there's moments in your life you just want to be, right? And
And
that's one of them. Yeah.
it's great. And I mean, this was, as cruises go, this was a relatively short one. It was 4 nights, 5 days kind of thing. But it was quick, and it was just very nice. I mean, they had literally, the auditorium where they had, Broadway style, shows. I'll tell you what, we went to the first one. First night was an ABBA tribute. And I was
Oh,
like,
cool.
it was great. I mean, I was very, very surprised because, I mean, I know, that sometimes entertainment is not, but I'll tell you what, this ABBA show was fabulous. It was really good. And then I went to every one every night, and it just got better. Like Thursday night was the final one. We went on a Monday through a Friday, and Thursday night was like the Broadway show, the show that they put on in the evening was just phenomenal. I mean, they had acrobats, they had music. It was just, and very, very showy and it was just wonderful. I mean, I have to say the entertainment on this particular cruise was simply fabulous. And MSC does that. MSC is known for, they have really good entertainments on their ship. I mean, and again, it depends upon what vibe you want. There's cruise lines for every little vibe. There's, if you have little kids, if you're just want to relax, if you want to party, if all kind of things. This one was just more, I mean, there were little kids, there were all ages, don't get me wrong. It was a full span, but, you just didn't feel like you were hemmed into one particular thing. So I have to say MSC was very good about that as far as the line and the vibe of the ship. They have all different kinds. You can basically, when you pick a ship and pick where you want to go, I mean, there's so many different things you can do, like with MS, the Bella, the Fantastica, and the Aurea. experiences that they call it. So depending upon which experience you pick, depends upon the amenities you receive. Like, the Aria, you have access to the spa and to, for the basic things like the massages and the sauna and this, that, and the other thing. And of course, they have if you want to get your nails done or if you want other things, you have to pay extra for them. But in the Aria experience, you basically can go to the spa and, hang out, do whatever, which is I didn't personally do it. I did walk through the spa, but it's just you want to talk relaxation and quiet and just calm. It was wonderful. And of course, the Fantastica is kind of the medium range where you get a little bit, which is, I think, what most people go for, unless you're just like have saved for years and you're just going to say, we want the top of the notch thing. And then the Bell, affordable, and depending upon, maybe you don't want a drink package or maybe you want a limited drink package. I mean, the one that I had was the Aria. So basically I didn't spend a dime the entire week. Everything was included. Like, I bought some souvenirs. That's about it. Everything else, my drinks, my food, everything was included. Internet. So it just depends upon what experience you want to have. And that, so that's why you're on board the ship. My room was wonderful, had a balcony. I would hang out on the balcony and just stand there at like 11 o'clock at night, just hang out while we're moving, or we did dock at their private island, for a couple of days. So it was just so relaxing, just so cool.
That is awesome, man. It sounds like you had a really good time. So,
it was wonderful.
The ship itself, so that is entertaining, cozy, comfy. You're seeing the water, and then you get to the Bahamas. So, did you, did you dock in Nassau? Where did you?
Well, the first port of call was MSC, and most cruise lines, the Bahamas, as has like hundreds of islands. And so a lot of these cruise lines, what they do is they buy an island, which, several of the cruise lines do. So many, and, you can spread out. So MSC did that, basically the same thing. So they have their own island. It's called Ocean Cay Marine Reserve. So you leave Miami, which was our port of embarkation. We left Miami, and overnight, the first night, sailed to Ocean Cay. And so Ocean Cay, basically, you dock there, and it's their own private island. So they have beaches that are absolutely beautiful. Then they're expanding it. There's a lighthouse show every night. So basically, wow. We docked on Tuesday, spent overnight Tuesday there, and then left Wednesday evening. So we had basically 2 days at Ocean Cay to explore, which is where you can do your excursions, some of the excursions, which the first day was kind of cool. It was, it was going to be my day where I just literally hung at the beach and did nothing. But it was a little cool and windy. So walked around the island, still sat in the beach, in the big beach lounges. Didn't necessarily go in the water. I walked in the water, didn't go swimming, only because, like I said, it was a little cool. But the beaches, it was cool and breezy. And then the afternoon, it was just absolutely gorgeous. Sun came out. It was just beautiful. But walked around the whole island, saw all the difference, and they're expanding this island. They're adding more, so they're adding more housing because of course you have to have employees that take care of this island. So they have housing right on the island, and they're all Bahamian. Like and I believe one of the things that I learned was to be a business that is registered to be in the Bahamas, like the large majority of your in like at the Ocean Cay, like the Bahamian government says have to be Bahamian people. So you have to employ the locals, which is really cool. And I'll tell you what, they're some of the coolest people, laid back, chill, and they'll tell you stories. It's really fun. So anyway, they're building more housing because they're going to need more employees because their big ship, I want to say we're in February. I think it's in March or April. The World America, which is like a humongous ship. They have they have World Europa and stuff like that over in Europe and Asia. They have a World Asia, I believe. So now they're making a World America, and this ship is monstrous. It's like, I want to say it's like 7,000 people. It's got like 2,600 cabins. So anyway, if you're on an MSC cruise, most MSC cruises in the Caribbean will dock at Ocean Cay. So with the advent of this big ship coming, they've had to expand the workforce and the housing and everything. So when I was there, that's what you could see, the construction going on with more housing for the employees, and they've had to dredge out a little bit deeper into the water. And what they do is really cool. So there's like, they make an island, and the sand that they dredge out goes on this little area so that they're not, and then it comes back on the island when they fill in. It's kind of cool. And it is a private island. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, because, we talk about, okay, so they buy an island, and I love the government doing this with the housing, and the employees need to be local. So it seems like they are also, with the sand and the dredging, that they're trying to do it sustainably too. And when you talk about a really big cruise ship, I know a lot of environmentally conscious people are going, oh, this isn't good, so, because I know that's going through someone's mind there. And I wanted to just circle back because, cruise ships, from what we have done and covered on shows, and I've even had the CEO of Princess on the show and talked about it. So I just want people to have this knowledge that cruise ships are changing to be more sustainable in what they're doing. And it sounds like this is an experience as well, that they are doing better. So they may have a big ship, but they are being more sustainable in what they do. And even their food, some of them are using local food and things like that. So with the cruises you've done, I know you've done a number of them. Are you seeing that there is a shift in that? I know you're going to be on our sustainable tourism show coming up on February 24th. But have you seen that?
Yes, very much so. And it's actually quite interesting because, I mean, they briefly touch on it a little bit, but they don't go, because you can research, and I'll be honest, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know all the right terms or whatever, but like, the engines that power the MSC ships are now they're doing things that make them more sustainable. The local produce, like you said. So when you go on the island, it was pretty interesting because I was on my balcony watching this. So when you dock, you have to understand you're in an island in the Bahamas. So it's not like you can go, down 20 miles and go to Walmart or wherever you go. So pretty much, and there's restaurants and everything, bars, everything on the island itself. So it's pretty interesting to watch because everything, well, I won't say everything, most of the things that go on the island come over on this ship. So when you first dock, you don't get to disembark right away because they have to take all the stuff for the island off the ship. So so you disembark maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours after the ship actually docks. And, depending upon what restaurant or bar you go to on the island, like the first day when I went out, you could only get limited drinks because they were still waiting for the supplies to come from the porters on the ship. So they wheel everything off the ship from the lower decks of the ship onto the island, and they take it to the, various restaurants and outlets. So the first day, for the first maybe 2 or 3 hours, it's limited of what you can get, like drinks or whatever. Not that you can't get rum, because I did, but it was just, it's just really interesting to watch that and stop and think that everything that comes, and again, you're also talking supplies for the people that live on the island and have to work and eat there, because, if you're working, I think I heard that they signed 3-month contract. So for that 3 months, you're not going anywhere. I mean, you're on this island. So they have to bring everything for those people as well as all the cruise ship people over each time a ship docks. So it was really kind of interesting to me to watch the things come off the ship and be taken to the various outlets around the island. And then you get to disembark, and basically you can do whatever you want on the island. You can swim, you can, check out, they have a lot of shops with Bahamian artists and things like that, which was really cool. And just being able to walk around. One thing that I'm sad I didn't get to see, which just only means I have to go back, is they actually do have and they were refurbishing it so it would be ready for the World America when it starts docking there. They have literally, it's a marine reserve. So they have talking back to this, sustainability, like the natural wildlife. So when MSC bought this island, it was basically bare. There was nothing on it. So they have brought all the vegetation, the trees, everything. And now the native, marine life is coming back. Like the iguana and the turtles. And it's just really, I didn't see any, but other passengers have said, and they have seen the native species come back, where 2 years ago, that wasn't the case, because they've had to bring in the vegetation and it obviously takes time to grow, but they've done a really, really good job of that, I think. And this building that they're making, it's basically going to be an area where they can rehabilitate if there's any marine animals that need it, so that they have the scientists there and the whole bit. And it's going to be open to the public so that they can go in and see the native creatures that inhabit the area. So that, and like I said, it was closed when I was there, just because they are expanding and getting it ready, which I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, that was really great.
Now, where did you see the stingrays?
Okay, so when you can do excursions from the island. So one of the excursions that I decided to do was the Stingray. So it's not necessarily far off from the island, maybe, I don't know, a couple miles out in the waters. And again, Bahamian business owner who basically that's what they do. And the Stingrays, so you go out and you take a smaller boat, obviously like a pleasure boat or whatever, out into, a couple miles away from the ship into the waters. And by the way, the waters there are just simply gorgeous. That you want to talk the ideal blue-green color. Oh my God, that's just beautiful. So you go out, and there was probably, let me think how many people were on this excursion. There might have been 25 or 30 of us, maybe. So you go out and and it's run by 1, 2, 3 Bahamian, local Bahamian businessmen. And so you go to this, it's another little island that actually had a little shipwreck on it, like a smaller shipwreck. And they anchor, and you get off and you get into the water, and they take you and you get to feed them. And I'll tell you what, it is the coolest thing going. I mean, these stingrays are huge. They're called the Southern Stingray. And it was just the neatest thing. I mean, obviously, and it was January when I took the cruise. So, to me, you get off in the water, and when you first step into the water, it's a little bit cool. It takes getting used to, but once you're in it, it's like bath water. It's beautiful. So because you have to get into the water and then walk more toward, the area where the stingrays come. So what they do is they have a box, and they feed them all the time. And the day that I went, the couple days before had been they couldn't get out there to feed them, only because of the rough seas or whatever. So they leave a box out there where the stingrays can get the food. So you get out there, and there's 20 of us, whatever. And you're allowed to feed them if you want. So you get, fish or whatever it is that I didn't even look at what they gave me. It was, I just wanted to feed them. They are literally when they brush up against you, they're the softest. I was very, very surprised at how friendly and how soft they are. Obviously, they know you're feeding them. They're pretty much, the Pavlovian effect. They know when this group of humans come, they're going to feed them. But I can't tell you, there was so many of them swarming this group of people. And I mean, big. They're not the little, and there were smaller ones, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them were this huge size. And when they swim in and out of your, because we basically formed like a circle. And so they were swimming in and out and around, and they brush up against your legs. And then when you feed them, they come right up and they'll eat out of your hand, and you can pet them. They're literally so soft and so supple. It's the wildest thing. I never thought I would be able to pet and feed a stingray. It was the coolest thing. And
That's awesome.
I did the typical, I said, okay, the typical American, tourist question, why aren't they stinging me? And they basically said that these stingrays they're born with like they got one shot. They have one whatever, I don't know what you want to call it, stinger maybe, for lack of a better word. And they're only born with one. So once that one is gone, they can't do anything to you. And obviously all these stingrays are, older, well cared for. So at some point in time, they've lost their stinger. But they are just the friendliest. They're playful. They come in, and one of the other ladies that was in this group, and she was when we first got in she would be like the typical one that screeches whenever they come close to her, they brush up against her. And we were probably in the water for, oh goodness, I'll bet 30, 35 minutes feeding these stingrays. And by the time we were done, she was like petting them. It was really neat. That's
really an experience.
Cool experience.
I think sometimes,
it was.
It has to be well done. You know what I mean? And it gives people an educational format to understand the animals, to understand and protect and to preserve them, so that's cool about that. And, I want to go I can't handle it. I have to get to this John Watling's Distillery. I mean, I saw all those barrels in your pictures and looking it up. And I mean, come on. So where did you go? Is this another experience from the island?
No, that was in Nassau. So after you would get to explore Ocean Cay and do whatever. So then it was Wednesday for me. So on that the Wednesday night, we left Ocean Cay and went to Nassau. So when I woke up the next morning, here you're literally, when you're pulling into Nassau, the ship that I was on, the sun was just coming up. It was really cool. So that's in Nassau. So another excursion that I purchased was like a mini, like a tour of the highlights of Nassau. And you're only in Nassau for the day. So I think we were able to disembark at like, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock maybe. And then we were leaving port at like 6. So it's not like you could do like a whole day thing. So I decided to choose like a sampler, I guess you could call it, for Nassau. So what you do is you disembark and you go up the dock, and you got to go, through all the security, whatever. And then you come out into the city and you board a bus. And on this excursion, there was probably, oh God, I'll bet there was 40 of us. So we get on the bus, and the bus driver was, and of course he's your tour guide, and he was engaging and funny and told all kinds of stories. So basically you drive around on this bus and you stop at certain areas in Nassau. We drove across Sidney Poitier's bridge because of course he was he's from the Buttons. Of course they have a bridge named after him. And as we were driving through these streets. Now keep in mind, I don't know, that you can tell they're good at their job because these streets in Nassau are small. I mean, they're like narrow. Yep, and you're trying to navigate through all the traffic, which, believe it or not, there's a lot. But the cool thing about that is, and I think it's because the streets are so narrow, a lot of the cars are like very small. They're like the small, real compact cars. Mm-hmm. But here you are, you're in a bus, and you're navigating these narrow streets, and these cars are darting in and out. I don't know how the guy did it, but it was really cool. So the bus driver took us, he took us through all the major hot spots, I guess, if you want to call it. One of them, we went over the Sidney Poitier Bridge because he's a native from the Bahamas, and, of course they revere him. So he's got a bridge named after him. And then the churches.
I revere him.
Everything.
Yeah. I revere Sidney Poitier.
Yeah. Everything is like, but there's lots of old buildings. So churches and cemeteries. And of course, we didn't necessarily stop at him, but we drove through the streets and he was pointing them out, the different denominations and, how the age of the churches. And some of these buildings are remarkable for their age. And then, of course, the different cemeteries that go along with them. And one of the stops, of course, was Fort Finn Castle and the Queen's Staircase. You mentioned the Queen's Staircase. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, this was a really cool thing. And it's up on the hill. It's up on the highest point of the island, obviously, because it's a fort. It's, was the purpose was the defense and whatever. And, it's on what they call Bennett's Hill, and it was to protect the Nassau Harbor. And this castle, it's a fort. It's called Fort Finn Castle, and it's in the shape of a paddle wheel steamer. So it's not huge, but it sits on top of this hill. So it was really, you get to walk around it. Of course, Bahamas, pretty much you can buy anything. So they have vendor booths and whatever around of Bahamian merchandise and things of that nature. So you walk around Fort Finn Castle, kind of cool. And then this Queen's Staircase. So the Queen's Staircase goes from the top of this hill, and it's literally like chiseled out of the rock. And you walk down, and they called it 66 steps. So realistically, it's basically chiseled out of the limestone, and the history is it was chiseled by the freemen that were of African descent, and the purpose for it was so the Queen, Queen Victoria, was visiting Fort Finn Castle, and that was kind of her way out, so to speak, in case of an emergency. So it's, you get to it from behind the fort, and then you go down, and it's known as 66 steps. It's down to 64 now because of the erosion and whatever, but would take the Queen from the fort down these steps and into the city of Nassau. So in 1837, I think, is when it started being built in 1793, I'm pretty sure. No, that was when the fort was built, 1793. So when Victoria was, obviously Queen of the UK, she, and the year that they said was 1857 for the staircase. So basically it took all these years to chisel, and it's stunning. When you walk down it, obviously, I chose to go to the castle first and then walk down versus walk up and then to the castle.
I'm with you, especially if I had rum first. Maybe that's the rum roll down. After. Okay.
Yeah, the rum
that's
came
a good
after.
Treat. Because even walking down is pretty dude.
Yeah. And it's stunning. I mean, you see these steps chiseled, and then there's a makeshift waterfall. It's not a waterfall like a natural waterfall, but there's areas chiseled next to the steps that go down, and of course the water, it's just absolutely beautiful. And then there's an alleyway. Once you get to the end of the staircase, there's an alleyway that basically takes you back out to the city, and it's all these vines and trees. It's just absolutely stunning. It was well worth it. And of course, the stop here was limited. So when you're on this bus tour, you have a certain amount of time to spend at each stop. So I think this one was like a 30-minute. So it's not like we had unlimited time to explore, but it's just cool walking, and just literally as you're walking down these steps, it's just absolutely beautiful. So then the next major stop was, we'll get to John Watling's Distillery. Now, you want to talk, this was a cool place because, and of course, at the end of the tour, I can't get it in the United States, and I couldn't figure out a way how to get it safely back, because I would have bought several bottles. But so you go to,
whenever you try to do that, just remember me, okay? Just remember your other Lisa friend here, your partner in crime here of the Lisa and Lisa Cult Jam. Just always remember me.
It was It was cool. So it's called the Spirit of the Bahamas. And again, go way, way back in history. It was the first distillery that was on the island, and it basically got grandfathered in, which is why it's able to still be there. But when you walk in, it looks just like this old, like an old mansion house, and the distillery portion is in the back. So it's basically like a boutique kind of distillery. Everything is made by hand, like everything. There's like no machinery. I mean, the bottles, we got able to see the, people actually, putting the rum into the bottles and sealing it. And it's a very small place. So you go through and they give you the history. We had a great tour guide. His name was Stefan. And he was a young, very attractive Bohemian man. And he was just great. You could tell he loved his job, told the whole history. Just wonderful. And you go through this beautiful old mansion, and then you go out and into the distillery portion, and he explains how they do it in small batches. So they manufacture it right there, and the barrels you see, obviously contain it in some form of the fermentation process. With the molasses, and they make varying kinds. It was just really cool to see how they make it in the barrels. And one of the things that I thought was really cool is, so they buy old barrels from like Kentucky, from like the bourbon places here. And the old barrels, whatever, obviously the bourbon, they buy those barrels, and that's what they put the rum in. So the rum has I won't say aftertaste, but it has that touch of the bourbon, and it was so good. So of course, at the end of the tour, naturally, you get a little sample. Well, actually what they did is when we walked into the mansion, you got this little tiny plastic cup as a sample. And I tell you what, it was like, okay, where can I buy more of that? It was just this rum. I don't know what kind of concoction it was, but it was fabulous. And so then by the time you get to the tour ends in the bar, naturally. And so you walk through the store, and they have all, they don't have like unlimited, but it's all I want to say they make 5 or 6 variations, very different kinds of rum there. And I was talking to the lady, and I was like, is this available in the United States? And she said, no, sadly. And I'm sitting there. I'll tell you what, if I could have figured out a way to get it home, I would have bought some. It was so good, smooth, and just so tasty. Oh my, it was just wonderful. So of course you had to get a drink at the bar. And everybody on this tour they were just so, you could tell they loved their job. Obviously you're talking to a bunch of tourists, but it's great. And they're just so friendly. It was wonderful. But the fact that everything was done by hand was just amazing to me. But the product was just wonderful. It really, really was. It was
rum tastings are fun, and people forget that you can drink them straight. We tend to put things in them. I mean, I know there's the Bahama Mamas, everybody loves a good Bahama Mama. No,
absolutely.
Yeah. But, rum's, drinking rum straight and just sipping and tasting it, they have the dark, they have the lighter one. There's Madeira, so there's, or Madeira. I don't know, however, everyone pronounces things differently, apparently. But, to me, I love doing those kinds of tastings because you start to understand where it comes from, the flavors. Are you doing the International Food Wine Travel Writers Association conference this year in Lafayette, Louisiana?
I can't. I don't, because I'm already committed to something else that week.
Well, they're going to a distillery, Louisiana, because Louisiana has, and you're not far from there anyway. Is sugarcane, and people don't realize Louisiana grows sugarcane and rice, hence the boudin. And the sugarcane out there, I mean, that's how you get rum from that sugarcane, So it's like you put the lime in the coconut and drink it all down.
Yeah.
So
but that was just a really cool experience.
Tell me you had a Bahama Mama on this adventure.
Of course. And the funny part about it is, so now we're all done with the bus tour, and there's like a little bit of time left to walk through the streets before you have to get back on the ship to to leave. So you walk, and honest to God, and I don't think I included it in the pictures, but there's literally a small little bar, and it's called the Bahama Mama. It was just like, of course it is. But, just the cool part about Nassau is, of course, it gets a lot of tourists. So you have a lot of budding young entrepreneurs there and, all kinds of vendors. And I admit, I did the typical tourist thing, but there, we walked through this little marketplace. It was, just a few stalls, but, it was all ladies, and they had handmade, like, things that they had handmade. So I bought I bought this really nice caftan, just because it was just so pretty. And then I bought another dress,
and
like
wait,
summer dress.
we have to touch on the caftan. Okay. So now Nancy and I have had this running thing because she's got this beautiful caftan from, Kenya, and it's, the African cloth and it's the same in the islands, right? I have a thing about these designs that the women make. I mean, the cloth to me is just a thing. She's got this amazing caftan. And if I want to annoy my mother, who's Nancy, I say, oh, I call it a muumuu. And then here it goes. It bugs her, and it's not a muumuu. It's not a muumuu.
Yeah, that's right.
It is a caftan. Now, because she says a muumuu is what Mrs. Roper wears in that TV show, Three's Company. That's a muumuu.
Yes, I bought this caftan. I have honestly no idea where I'm going to wear it. I'll probably, like I said, take it on the cruise in December, but it was just so beautiful with the material and the design. It was just lovely.
You should wear it to the Shamika Copeland concert.
You know what? You're probably very right. I could and get away with it, and nobody'd even think anything of it. And then the other, I bought another dress, like a summer, real light material, airy, summery dress, which of course I'll be able to wear this summer when it gets to be hell hot down here. But, and I'm usually not big on buying and spending a lot of money on touristy things, but these ladies are all entrepreneurs, and they're sweet, and they're talking to the lady. Oh, I'll make because you have to barter, and I'm not good on bartering. I'm just, to me, it's like, oh, that's the price you want. Okay, you put your time into it. I'm not going to barter, but you have to barter with them. So that's kind of, apparently that's part of the deal. So she's like, go back and forth. She's like, I give you a good deal on both of them. So I ended up buying both of them because she saw me eyeing up and it was going to be one or the other. And so that was part of the bartering. She gave me the two and, cut me a deal. Whether she not or did, I don't care. Quite honestly, because, it's supporting the local economy, but a lot of these shops around, a lot of really cool things. Of course, you get your typical touristy things, but, there's a really lot of handcrafted things that were really neat. So I would highly suggest, I enjoyed the Bahamas a great deal.
This sounds like an excellent trip for us all to look at. Now, tell everybody.
I'm telling you. I think we need to have a big blend cruise. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, we could do live podcasts as we drink Bahama Mamas.
Wouldn't that be cool? I'll bet you'd get a lot of people that would want to do that.
It would be fun. I'm all for floating. Yeah, I like that. Now, what's going on for the Caribbean cruise that's coming up in December? I think that's a good time to go to the beach.
Yes. So basically, I have another, and again, as a travel advisor, that's one of the things I want to do. When, and I do have a group, and there's a misnomer when I say a group, in that just because I have a group doesn't mean that whoever goes on in that group has to spend, we have to spend all our time together. Basically, it's just a phrase that's used to, I have a few cabins on hold and at a really good price. So in December, right after Christmas, if anybody wants to give themselves a Christmas present, you'd have to, obviously it's got to be, all taken care of by September. That's when every final payment's due and all of that. But it's going out of Fort Lauderdale, and I'm going from Fort Lauderdale to Belize, Cozumel, and Costa Maya. And I'm going to spend New Year's in Belize. How cool is that? because it's the
Oh my
week after
gosh.
Christmas. So I think I'm leaving the 28th of December and I get back like January 2nd or 3rd. One of those. I don't have it exactly in, but I'll get you that information. But yeah, so I get to spend New Year's when I ring in the new year for 26, I'll be in Belize. So I'm pretty stoked about that. It
Mm.
is it's a princess cruise, and I do still have cabins available from my group. And I just checked, I want to say last week, just to see, and the pricing that I have locked in is like 35% off of the market price they're charging like today. So that's a pretty good deal. If anybody wants to, give yourself a Christmas present, please reach out to me. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
really
and
I'm looking forward to that.
I've got the links in the episode notes, so you can go right to Lisa's travel advisor page. But also you can go to writerlisa.com, which is her, her page for her travels, but just message her through there or
Yeah.
go to the link in the episode notes. But I think that's super cool, Lisa. I mean, how much fun, that's a way
Yeah.
to Christmas in warm climates is wonderful.
Uh-huh. It is. It
It
is.
is.
So
It really is. I mean, if you've done all the winter stuff before, you can give yourself the joy of sunshine. That is great. Now let's talk about this music. Okay, so for the Journey Jukebox music playlist, link is also in the episode notes. We started it off last month with Jimmy Buffett, right? Because coastal Mississippi,
correct.
and now you found out that Lenny Kravitz is
Yeah.
from the Bahamas.
I never knew that.
Ooh, he has a house in the Caribbean. Have you seen all about his house?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Man,
Yep.
he is one fine specimen. Can I put it
Yeah.
that way? He is. I
He
mean,
is.
he's super fly, and he's a healthy guy. He loves horses, and his music is amazing.
Yeah.
And Cindy Blackman, which we talked about a few shows ago, Cindy Blackman, Santana's wife, was his drummer for
Yeah.
many years, and you got to check her out.
Yeah, I was amazed. We talked about that, I think, last episode. I never made the connection. I mean, you'd see this awesome lady drummer, and I never made the connection. It was Santana. That was wild to me.
Yeah, she's amazing. But Lenny Kravitz is cool. So we got some Lenny Kravitz that we're going to be adding to the playlist. Do you have any specific ones you want of Lenny Kravitz?
You know what? Pretty much, he's a pretty good musician. You could pick and choose your choice, Lisa, whichever one you like. I love them
Okay. Well, speaking of my choices, I've got to put Who Let the Dogs Out from the Bahamas.
all.
Come on. You know what? I trained dogs to actually bark on command for that.
Oh,
Because
wow.
it's like, who
That's
let the
wild.
dogs out? Woo. So one dog, he did it, a collie, he's passed away now, Mr. Winston. And it was during snow. It was a winter season. We went up to Madison, Wisconsin. And for those who don't know, Nancy and I travel full time across the country, documenting parks, public lands, and we pet sit as we go. It's something we started during COVID, and we love it. And we went to Madison, Wisconsin, and they're like, it was the day after Thanksgiving, and we left at the few days after New Year's. They're like, oh, this isn't the time when you get snow.
Yeah.
There's some other word for that.
Yeah.
Snowstorms later. So the dogs and I are like inside, Nancy and I, there's two collies and little Gussie Bucket. We call him Gussie Bucket. Little poodly thing, poodly terrier terror, who attacks the UPS man, the postman, anybody who goes down the street is in trouble. This little terrier. But in the morning, it's always this playtime, and they know that song now. And then we returned because it was Who Let the Dogs Out? And all the dogs would run around and be silly. And then they would start to get to the barks, and they knew it. I actually filmed it for them too. And then, we went back and did another sit, and they did it. They knew it. They remembered. And as soon as I played the song, they all came in formation into the living room going, all right, let's do it. Like,
Oh,
isn't that wild?
that's too funny. That is
And
funny.
so that's a little Bahama, sunshine in the winter of Madison, Wisconsin. But
There you
after
go.
that song, I listened to it. If you're feeling down, you put that on, man. You can't. And dogs love it. They love that beat. They love the sound of it. It's kids love it. Everybody loves it. Have some rum. Everybody loves that song. So tell me about KB. And yeah, you found Phil Stubbs.
Yeah, I
KB.
found a couple of those in there.
What's the cuckoo soup? Cuckoo soup.
You got to listen to it. It was like I was just kind of clicking on it, going, okay, well that's and it's that Bahamian beat that you get, and it just I don't know, it's really kind of cool. It's all that Bahama music is just it's so different. I think a lot of reggae. I mean, I don't know if they still call it reggae. Reggae is really cool in the islands. I mean, stop and think about Bob Marley. I mean, he's just. That whole Caribbean beat music.
The steel drums too, man. It's like it's a happy beat, it's a happy music. I love it. I love this. And Lenny Kravitz, we're going to have to play the Fly Away song because I want to get away.
Yeah.
I want to fly.
There you go. And go to the Bahamas, go on a cruise
right.
to the Caribbean. Absolutely.
So what's next? Where are we going next month? I'm excited. I love this. I love that we're drinking rum. We're going to warm weather. I think next time we're not going to warm weather. I don't know. Are we? Where are we going?
No. Well, I guess it depends on the city. Next month we're going to go to Portland, Oregon, the Portland, Oregon area.
Ooh, I love it there. The best bookstore on the planet.
Yes, it is. I went there. It was overwhelming. It was wild. I mean, you're talking a block and like different levels. Yes.
Yeah. No, yes. Nancy and I took a shopping cart. They do have shopping carts. It was wild. Yeah.
Of course you have to, when you go there, I ended up buying like 3 I don't know. It was literally so overwhelming. I was like, okay, I just got to pick like some books and get out of here. Cause you could literally spend.
No, we filled a shopping cart, an entire shopping cart.
I believe it.
And we then had to stop and look at each other and go, what the heck are we doing? And it's the music room. They have an entire music room, not just books. They have music. They have musical instruments. I mean, okay.
It was amazing. I have to say it was amazing. So
great wine.
So yeah, we'll go to Portland. We'll go to Portland next month.
I love this. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. I love it up there. We're going to be going there next this fall. Up that way near it.
Oh, nice.
So you're going to give us some primers. So we're looking forward to it, to hear about your excursions and see stuff we may not know about. So, so we can plan for that. So everyone, again, thank you so much for joining us. We are here every third Tuesday with Lisa Evans at 12 o'clock Central Time. So stay tuned for that and keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. Go to writerlisa.com to keep up with her adventures, and you can follow her on social media from there. And thank you so much, Lisa, and enjoy the rest of Mardi Gras season.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Everybody have a great day.
Thanks for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Journey Jukebox with travel writer and author and travel advisor Lisa Evans. Keep up with Lisa at writerlisa.com and follow bigblendradio.com for new episodes every third Tuesday.